Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward.
Chapter 1. In the starry sky, there are 4 figures running while carrying a huge throne made of chakra balls. On the throne sat a very young-looking man. His face is pale, and even his hair is as white as his skin, but his eyes are completely like 2 black holes. If he can't blink his eyes, I'm afraid people will be deeply moved if they look at them for a long time. Into those deep eyes. In addition, his white cheeks, handsome face, and slender figure can definitely fascinate all living beings, but there is no energy fluctuation in the white robe of such a noble person. His restraint shows that he is an invincible strong man who is not arrogant. He is the most mysterious Otsuki Junichi, the son of the Otsutsuki Honaki, and under the throne, those 4 people carry the throne and fly in the void for Otsuki Junichi. The 4 people carrying the throne are in the Datuang Mokpo style, the Datuang Muchong style, the Datuang Mudao style, and the Datuang Mujin style. The 4 of them are servants of the Otsuki Honkai, and they are now under the command of Otsuki Junichi, the son of the Honka who sits on the throne. Now this group of 5 people is traveling through the universe. As for their uniform white skin, it just ensures that they will not be disturbed and annihilated by the invisible forces in the universe, just as safe as ordinary humans living on the planet. Otsuki Junichi, who was sitting on the throne at the moment, looked at the deep starry sky, unable to conceal his surprise. I finally persuaded the old guy to let me leave my hometown, otherwise I don't know when I will be an adult. Otsutsuki Junichi, who thought so in his heart, changed his posture and lay down on the throne. It seemed that it would be a little uncomfortable to keep the sitting posture all the time. Damn Kagaya, who would have thought that the fruit of the sacred tree you harvested is just the power I need to grow up. That's right, Otsutsuki Junichi is very angry at this moment. Has reached the age of adulthood, but missing a necessary link. The body is incomplete, so how can the Otsutsukimoto family pass on? This inability to walk in the human way simply made Otsuki Junichi speechless, and the most important thing was that his strength was limited to an embarrassing height, and there was no way to improve it. So Otsutsuki Junichi, who knew the general situation, planned to personally seize his own power. He can't wait. In fact, Junichi was reborn into the Otsukimoto family from another world, and he was recognized as the future heir of the Otsukimoto family from birth. As an heir, he has his own adult gift, which is a fruit of the divine tree. A complete fruit of the sacred tree. Only by swallowing it, Otsuki Junichi can become an adult, so that he can spread branches and leaves for the Otsutsuki family, expand the Otsuki family, and his own strength can also be rapidly improved. However, before Otsuki Junichi was born, Otsuki Kagaya, who had been sent out by the Otsuki family, had not returned with the fruit of the sacred tree. The original Otsuki family still wanted to wait. But at this time, Otsutsuki Junichi has slowly grown up. Although he still lacks 10 key strength points in his body to become the complete body of the Otsukimoto family and activate more complete power, but now his strength is not weaker than these Otsutsuki's servants. So he needed this thing, and he didn't want to waste time and wait for nothing. Now he left Otsukimoto's family and went out to retrieve his own fruit of the sacred tree himself. And Otsuki Junichi begged for a long time before he was allowed to leave Otsukimoto's house. Of course, protecting Otsuki Junichi was also the top priority, and he sent 4 servants to follow him. The servants of the Otsutsuki clan are all ready to attack a planet, let alone Junichi Otsutsuki, who is the head of the clan. Therefore, he has a variety of powerful Otsutsuki clan's secret arts. As for those blood successor snares and blood successor elimination, all kinds of pupil skills have already been completely mastered. Of course, Otsuki Junichi also has the power to completely control the people in Otsuki Kinoshita, which is the main reason why these people in Otsuki Kinoshita are so obedient. So security issues are not an issue at all. In the dark starry sky, there are various planets appearing, among which there are very few planets that can conceive the sacred tree. Every time such a planet is found, the servants of Otsutsuki will be ordered by the family to take care of it, and then after the fruit of the sacred tree is ripe, it is picked and sent to Otsukimoto's family. But Otsutsuki Junichi knew that damned servant Kaguya didn't do that at all, but he had depraved an intercourse with ordinary humans on the planet and gave birth to offspring. It's just a pity that she was sealed by her 2 filial sons, which was extremely funny. As for her original plan to fight against the people in her family, it was completely useless. At this time, Otsutsuki Junichi obtained the authority to go out this time from his elders, and he decided to suppress the local power of this planet before it grows up. Suppress it with your own powerful strength, and then let yourself be able to obtain the fruit of the sacred tree smoothly, so that you can become an adult. Of course, the people of Otsukimoto's family don't just want to do things like adults, because they will gain more power after adulthood, and their strength will also become stronger. At that time, they really can do whatever they want and do whatever they want. Where is it like now, you have to bring bodyguards with you when you go out? So what Otsutsuki Junichi has to do is to suppress the world he is familiar with. This is what he must do, and no one can stop him. Thinking of this, Otsuki Junichi felt that this was because of the different heights in viewing the problem. If he was a member of the Otsutsuki clan, then his own things could never be stolen by weak creatures. So this time he brought 4 subordinates to completely suppress the entire ninja world, let the sacred tree grow again, and fulfill his own needs. Otsuki Junyi looked at the starry sky, and then asked to Otsutsuki with a pair of curved horns on his head, "How long will it be?" Datuong Muyushi is different from the other 3 Datuong Muxiaman. Apart from his pale skin and short white hair, he has 4 eyes. Of course, his normal eyes are a pair of white eyes, and one is Lyoguya blue. The reincarnation eye and an ordinary-looking human eye appear on the forehead in an up and down manner. In addition, he has a pair of curved horns on his head, which looks like a monster, but his strength is very terrifying, stronger than the other 3 Datuong Kinoshita. Master Run, at our speed, it will only take 3 days to go all out. The time is still calculated in hours, minutes, and seconds, and a day is still the familiar 24 hours, so it is easy to understand. There seemed to be an extra beam of light in the starry sky, and that light came from the eyes of ordinary human beings in Otsutsuki's style. As the light quickly disappeared, Otsutsuki said to Otsuki Junichi in Otsutsuki's style, "I see, and close your extra eyes." "Yes, Master Junichi." Otsutsuki Junichi heard Otsutsuki Junichi's words, and soon the eyes on his forehead were completely closed, as if there were nothing at all. As for the other 3 Datuong Mushita, they didn't dare to talk at all, and continued to run carrying the huge chakra throne. Although it seems that they are running very slowly, they are actually very fast. It is just that the speed is so fast that the nearby planets can no longer be seen clearly, and only the planets in the extremely distant universe can be seen. There is a change in displacement. And Junichi Otsutsuki calculated the time, and felt that he could sleep, and then completely lay down on the huge throne. Chapter 2. Runyi fell asleep, feeling as if he had returned to the world he used to be. Looking at the hot-blooded Hokage, he was very excited. He used to think how cool it would be if he also became a ninja in Naruto World. But now I can easily step on those ninjas in the ninja world, so that they have no strength to resist, so I don't think they are any great. Of course, this is a dream. As a powerful Otsutsuki clan, Junichi is very clear about the distinction between dream and reality. So after the fast-moving chakra throne stopped, Junichi also woke up from sleep. "Master Jun, we have arrived at the planet where Kaguya planted the sacred tree." When Junichi opened his eyes, Otsutsuki's voice sounded just right. 3 days passed in a flash. Okay. Junichi sat up while observing the planet with his own eyes. On this planet, it looks very familiar, because it is a whole blue planet with a small land area, so Runyi has some memories. But soon Runyi's eyes discovered that there is actually a unique force protecting the planet on this planet. It seems that Kaguya is still in this planet, but I don't know where it is. The unique power of the planet actually limits my perception. Runyi's voice came, and the 4 big Otsutsuki who were carrying the throne were standing on this planet. Sometimes I used my own strength to check, but found that I couldn't find anything. Of course, he was just observing in this way, and he was very clear about what was on the moon, but now he had to get acquainted with this planet first. Otsutsuki's servants just used their own pupil technique just now, as for the others, they still need to wait for Junichi's order. Runyi continued to search at this time, and soon Runyi found a place where the power of the planet was weak, so he touched the starry sky with his hands. A streak of blue and white chakra flew out of Runyi's hand, opening a finger-sized hole in this blue planet. Of course, only Runyi can see this hole, and the other 4 servants can't see it at all. Okay, you follow me, otherwise with your strength, even if you use Huangchuan Biliang socket to forcibly enter, it will cause trauma to your body. Yes, Master, run. The 4 Otsutsuki Kinoshita felt Junichi's chakra, so they said in unison. At this time, Runyi flew out from the chakra throne, and a space world appeared behind him in the starry sky, and the throne formed by the chakra balls all flew into Runyi's space world. Then the space entrance disappeared. Then, Runyi quickly flew towards the blue planet. As he approached the small hole, Runyi's body disappeared. He used space power to allow himself to quickly enter the blue planet. After Junyi disappeared, the 4 Kinoshita who followed closely behind Junyi also disappeared. They were wrapped by Junyi's space power and passed through the planet's protective power. As Runyi and the others entered, the hole pierced by Runyi's finger also slowly disappeared, as if it had never appeared. It's a beautiful planet, just right for the replanting of the sacred tree. After Runyi entered this planet, he was repelled by the planet's own power, but the influence was not very great. On this blue planet, I will still exist in a bottomless pit. Although the Otsutsuki clan is more suitable for fighting in the starry sky, entering a planet does not have a big impact, but the freedom in the starry sky is missing, and the power of the starry sky is missing. It's just a dozen times the superposition. So even if there is no superposition of the power of the starry sky, and their power is used to deal with the natives of this world, any one of the 4 of them still has the power to make the strongest in the world fear. Find a place first and adapt to this planet. Now that he has arrived at the place, Junichi is not in a hurry. So he ordered, and a group of 5 people flew high in the sky and found a small island, so the 5 people fell down and slowly adapted to the planet on the small island. As long as they get used to the special power of this planet, then what they do will not be rejected and suppressed by the power of this planet to affect their serious business. Time passed slowly. In order not to be rejected by this planet, Runyi and the others stayed on this uninhabited island for about 10 days. And 10 days later, Run began to perceive this world and judge the direction of where he was going, but found that in this planet, the range of perception was not as far away as in the starry sky, and it seemed to be suppressed by a natural force, so Runiki decided to send someone out to find out. Master Run, this is really a joyful planet, with chakras scattered everywhere. As long as you collect them all and replant the divine tree, it won't take long for the fruit of the divine tree to mature. The Datuang Mudao pose and the Datuang Mokpo pose seemed to be unable to bear the joy in their patience, so they said this, but after the 2 of them finished speaking, they both knelt in front of Runiki and said in unison, Master Jun, let's go out and gather information, and it won't be long before we get acquainted with the world. Okay, I need all the information I want to know in 2 days. I think you 2 know what I need, and don't let the natives of this planet discover your arrival. Yes, Master Run. Then go. Following Junichi's agreement, a black space entrance appeared on the left-hand side of Otsutsukimoto, and he walked in directly, and then the space entrance disappeared. As for the big tube wooden peach pose, it is suspended in the air quickly, and then accelerates to fly in another direction. Soon there were only Junichi, Otsuki Kinchi, and Otsutsuki Kinchi left on the island. Changshi, sense where the sacred tree is, let's go find it. Yes, Master Jun. Otsutsuki quickly opened his ordinary eyes, and then looked for the powerful shell of the sacred tree. Master Run, I have already found it, but it seems that there is only one body left. There is no chakra, and there is no fruit. It should be that the fruit was eaten by someone, and then the remaining body was taken away by chakra. Otsutsuki Chung style quickly found the target. After hearing what the other party said, Junichi already understood the approximate time period in the world of Naruto. It seems that the golem of the heretics is no longer on the moon, so the Akatsuki organization may have begun to really become active in the ninja world. Master Run, do you need me to summon him with the eyes of reincarnation? Without waiting for Junichi's voice, Otsutsuki continued to ask. Now the sacred tree no longer exists, only the body is left, so there is no need to search for it at all, just use reincarnation to summon it. This world also has samsara eyes, so let's see who has the stronger samsara eyes between you two. Runyi thought like this, and then nodded. Otsutsuki Wakishiki understood Junichi's meaning, so at this moment, his hands quickly clenched into fists, and then punched together hard. Then the Lyogu Jade reincarnation eyes on his forehead shone brightly. Pro. Soon he uttered a syllable, and Runiki felt a lot of chakra fluctuations in the surrounding space. Chapter 3. What? Nagato? What's wrong? In a dark cave, a thin man with red hair suddenly let out a scream. It seemed that his body was being pulled by a huge force. And at this moment, a blue-haired woman standing beside him worriedly stepped forward and asked with concern, while preparing to help the red-haired man. Xiao Nan, don't come here. The heretic golem has felt a stronger summoning power. To get out of my control, I need to use the power of the God's Eye. The red-haired man said quickly. At the same time, he gritted his teeth and made seals with his hands. A pure and huge power emanated from his samsara eyes, turning the surroundings into a no-man's land. Strangers should stay away, otherwise they will be killed by powerful forces. At the same time, the black stick inserted in his body shook violently, and countless blood flowed out from the connection between the black stick and the human body, but the wound was quickly healed by the powerful body recovery ability. Xionin on the side was watching anxiously at the moment, and found that Nagato in his eyes was getting thinner, as if something was taking away Nagato's body functions. He will get weaker and weaker. Although she was in a hurry, she had no way to go to help. And at this time, the body of the heretic golem that had been behind Nagato slowly came to life, and it seemed that it was about to become the once powerful Ten Tails. Its single eye actually split into two eyes from its extremely ugly face at this time, but these two eyes were occupied by two reincarnation eyes. One is a normal reincarnation eye, and the other is a very mysterious one. The eyes of reincarnation with Lyogu Jade. However, the movement of the golem of the outside world seems to be struggling painfully, and depending on the situation, the 6-Go Jade reincarnation eye seems to be more dominant, and the other eye is slowly shrinking. If it disappears completely, it may be taken by the 6 eyes. Go Yu's reincarnation eye is completely in control. Is that also the eye of reincarnation? How come? Xionin felt shocked at the moment. Although she had never had the eyes of reincarnation, she also knew that the eyes of reincarnation with 6 more Goyu must be much stronger than Nagato's eyes of reincarnation, so she turned around quickly. Baiju. Xiao Nan, who had just walked out of the cave, quickly formed a seal, and then a Baiju appeared in front of Xiao Nan. After the other party saw Xiao Nan, he said directly, Baihu, what's the matter? An accident happened to Nagato, go and notify Madara. It is good. After Xiao Nan finished speaking, she entered the cave. Just as Xiao Nan entered, the space around her fluctuated. After the space vortex disappeared, a man in a black robe with a white one-eyed mask appeared beside Xiao Nan. What's going on? Why is the heretic golem uncontrollable? The speaker's voice has been changed, but it feels very strange. This is the man behind the Akatsuki organization known as Uchiha Madara. When Xionan heard the other party asking this question, Xiaonan was about to answer, but found that the other party was not asking about himself at all, but about a black figure that appeared with him. He was Heiju, and he had been following this mysterious man. It's the reincarnation eye, Liu Guyu's reincarnation eye. Heiju had just finished speaking, with a calm expression on his face, but he began to mutter in his heart, could it be the mother? No, the mother will eat it. She got the fruit of the sacred tree, and her eyes are samsara Sharingan, could this be the power of Otsutsukimoto's family? Too bad, they must have come early, I haven't resurrected my mother yet. Heiju, who is the only one who knows the real story behind this world, is not at all as relaxed as he appears on the surface. Instead, he quickly said, Madara, we must prevent the golem of the heretics from being snatched by the power with the 6-go jade reincarnation eye. Heiju, are you hiding something from me? The person known as Uchiha Madara is not a fool, and his tone became very dissatisfied. But this black unique skill has been around for so long, and he has rich experience, so he said quickly, Madara, now is not the time to talk about this, we must stop it. Then you do it too. It is good. After Heiju finished speaking, a clone of Baiju quickly appeared on the ground, and then merged with him. It looked weird, but its strength increased a lot. Divine power. Immediately afterwards, the two disappeared in the space vortex, and when they reappeared, they were already near the red-haired Nagato. Heize didn't shy away from it and directly attached himself to Nagato, who was already very thin, while Baize's avatar withered aside. And Uchiha Madara drove a large amount of chakra into Nagato, who was possessed by the black sword. With chakra, Nagato's body is no longer crumbling, and Xionan, who is standing on the periphery of the powerful fluctuations, is staring at the two people around Nagato, and now she already hates them to the bone. Because the strength of these two guys is too strong, there must be some bad intentions, but they haven't done it yet. The power of the heretic golem being contested became more intense, and the samsara eyes symbolizing Nagato's eyes were finally no longer shrinking, and at the same time were still getting bigger, as if Nagato's side was going to win. On the other side of the island, Otsutsuki found that he hadn't summoned the body of the sacred tree, and a power that was also the eye of reincarnation let him know that it would not be easy, so he cast the spell again. Fight. Why, will it still resist? Run Yi knew it well, but still wanted to ask. After all, he wants to fully understand the gap between his subordinates and Nagato, who is known as the Eye of God in the ninja world. Master Run, there is still a pair of eyes of reincarnation with pure blood in this world, but it has not yet grown into a real eye of reincarnation. Summoning the body of the sacred tree from his hand will be completed soon. Da Tuong Weong style didn't dare to save power, and then released more chakra to summon the body of the sacred tree. At this moment, Runyi turned his head and looked to the east, as if he found something. But Da Tuong Mujinchi next to him knelt down and said, Master Run, I'll take care of it. Run nodded, he just felt that someone was coming, maybe it was just a greedy ninja who found a lot of chakra fluctuations here and thought it was a treasure, so he came here to look for it. Of course, there is no need for Runyi to take care of this situation, he still has subordinates. After receiving Junichi's nod, Otsutsuki Kinchiki's huge figure quickly disappeared. He would end the battle in the shortest possible time and come back to report to Junichi that his mission was completed. Seeing that he was the only one left on the island, Runyi became more relaxed. He let his subordinates do everything, and he became the most relaxed one. But although Junichi was relaxed, Otsutsuki Wakeshiki felt his own pressure. He didn't expect that after entering this world, he still had a little more than % of his strength, and he would actually form a conflict with the natives. This is how to complete the task, so he freed his right hand, reached out from his collar, and quickly grabbed 5 small red chalk radins from his arms. Then he swallowed it all into his mouth without hesitation. Then both hands were palms, and they patted each other heavily. Bye! With a loud shout, his human eyes opened, and an invisible virtual light was added to the pupil power of Lioguyu's reincarnation eyes, and then a huge crack seemed to appear in the surrounding space. Chapter 4. After eating Chakradon's Datoungwuyu style, it is not only able to perform the techniques contained in Chakradan, but also can quickly replenish the consumption of one's body. In this way, he is basically in a full state all the time. Therefore, he has nothing to consume. As for the other side, it is absolutely impossible not to consume his body. Of course, the most important thing is that the power of Chung style is much stronger than theirs. Although this is a tug-of-war struggle, it will only fall to one side soon. Runyi ignored it, but looked at the bigger and bigger space cracks that appeared near him. Roar! Part of the golem's body entered the space crack. It felt very unwilling to be pulled by the two forces, but it was completely controlled. It can only be pulled by two forces. Runyi was standing not far away at the moment. His eyes and the space rift seemed to be connected together, and then he saw the other side through the space rift, where two figures appeared. This should also be able to understand the unique ability of Junichi's eyes, which can see through space. Objects outside the space can be seen after penetrating the space. Of course, this is just one of Runyi's most common pupil techniques. Runyi was familiar with these two figures. It's just that Junichi soon discovered that there was a unique living body lying on the back of Nagato with the eyes of reincarnation. As Junichi continued to check, he saw a liquid-like black substance lying on Nagato's back, and his existence was combined with a large amount of chakra from the so-called Uchiha Madara. It turned out to be the three of you. A reincarnation I Nagato, a Uchiha Obito who has obtained Mutun, and a will from its Otsukishita Kagaya, resolutely took advantage of the native status to form a short-term relationship with a suppressed Otsukishita. Pull. Although this seems to be a pull between pupil techniques, it is also a pull between the forces of two worlds. And Junichi also knew at this time that the so-called Heijua from Kagaya's consciousness should have guessed that the rush style of the shot came from Otsutsuki. That's why they shot together without reservation. But they seem to have overlooked that there are more people coming from Otsutsuki's family, and the heirs of the family have also come here. Otherwise, I am afraid that the black hand behind it would have lost the idea of confrontation. Roar! With another roaring roar, the space rift closed, and the huge outcast golem was directly pulled out of the space rift. It expressed dissatisfaction, which made Runyi frown after hearing it. Then, a red seal of Yin Yang Dun flew out and covered its head with Datoungwuyong's style. The original golem with only one Lihoguyu reincarnation eye was sealed by this seal. Then it lowered its head, but it didn't turn into a dry and hard body. Instead, it looked like a living chakra creature waiting for the master's order. A little bit smaller. Looking at the huge heretic golem, Runyi's voice came. His voice seemed to be in order with its own majesty. After Junyi finished saying this, the body of the heretic golem shrank by more than half. With Runyi's consciousness, it slowly turned into a good mount, and at the same time it slowly transformed into a dark red giant. At the same time, a seat appeared on its back. If Runyi sat on it now, its bald head would just become Runyi's desk. It looks very powerful, but obediently obeys orders. Because there is a seal of Yin Yang Dun on the outermost side of its one eye. Master Run, are we going to kill him? Otsutsuki Wakishiki was very upset. He was almost suppressed by the indigenous forces when he came to this world. How could he show his strength in front of the Otsukimoto family, so he had a proposal. Now he really wants to go there, refine all those natives into chakradans, and then swallow them by himself, otherwise, where will the lost 5 chakradans be replenished? Runyi ignored the big tube wooden surge pose, and directly flew into the air, flying towards the seat on the back of the golem. At this time, the golem knelt gently and waited for Runyi to sit on his back superior. After Runyi sat down, he patted the head of the heretic golem very satisfied, and said, "Don't worry, we still have other things to do." "Yes, Master Jun." Otsutsuki Wakshi didn't dare to say anything, but stood aside and waited. When Junichi patted the head of the heretic golem, he didn't tell him what to do, but to obtain its memory. These memories are that after it was planted by Otsutsuki Kagaya, it grew slowly and slowly bore fruit, and then it was eaten by Otsutsuki Kagaya, and then it broke out completely, turned into 10 tails, and then went to grab the fruit. But it was defeated by Otsutsuki Kagaya's filial son who gained the power of chakra, and then differentiated the chakra in its body, becoming the 9-tailed beasts of this world. And its remaining body was brought to the moon by another filial son of Kagaya Otsutsuki. Originally, he was imprisoned, but he did not expect to be summoned to the ninja world by a powerful person with reincarnation eyes a few years ago, and promised to help him regain the tailed beast chakra. In the end, it was summoned by Otsutsuki and sealed to become Junichi's mount. Although it seems that this process can be described in a few sentences, it has gone through a long period of time, so the amount of information is very huge. If Junichi didn't have the blood of the Otsutsukimoto family, he wouldn't be so peaceful. So after digesting all the information for the first time, he looked up at the sky. Is it the moon? There should be a lot of chakra there, and there is a super huge Tenseian. Is Kagaya also there? Since this is the case, then take back all the power of my Otsutsuki clan, even if it is the power of the subordinates, don't stay in this world. Runyi's eyes are extremely dark, completely different from Byun, but his eyes can see through the universe, so he has already seen the moon at this moment. Now that he had such an idea, Junichi knew what to do next. Following Junichi, he stopped looking at the sky, and then looked towards the east of the island. After a while, a figure appeared from the space ripples. The huge figure knelt on the ground, and reported to Runyi, Master Runyi, we found 5 natives in total, and they have all been killed. In this world, they use chakra as a body source, and then consume it by releasing ninjutsu to gain the power to fight. I see. Runyi waved his hand, but he didn't want the 5 tiny chakradens that Datoong Mujinshi took out. After Otsuki Kinshiki saw Junichi's movements, he put away the chakraden, then stood up and waited for Junichi's order. Chapter 5. Let's go there. Junichi pointed his fingers in the void, although there seemed to be nothing in the sky. But Otsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Kinshiki quickly discovered what Junichi was pointing at. Because there is actually an invisible special force at Junichi's finger that marks the planets in the starry sky. This time, Runyi marked the moon, which is not very far from the blue planet where he is now, so even in the daytime, Otsutsuki Kinshi and Otsutsuki Jinshi both saw the place marked by Runyi. Now that the destination has been determined, Runyi, the 3 of them and the giant of the sacred tree will take off together soon. For the Otsuki family, flying is as easy as walking. Of course, there will be consumption like walking, but compared to other humans, their consumption is very little, just like ordinary humans walking. So they fly, and it becomes the norm. When Runyi and the others came to the outermost layer of the planet, a space appeared in front of Runyi, and a group of people entered this space. It is a space art Kiseki Hirasaka that Junichi's Kiji snatched. Through this space technique, Runyi and the others can directly leave the blue planet, and then come to the universe, so that they can quickly reach the moon. This way is the fastest way to pass through the protection power of the planet. Of course it is only to get out of the planet quickly. It is also possible to enter the planet by using the space technique Huangchuan Biliang Saka of this Sweji snare, but it will be suppressed by the power of the planet to only about % of its strength. So when Runyi and the others entered the blue planet, they used Runyi's unique technique. After coming out, the previous technique is completely unnecessary, and the power of Runyi and the others will not be restricted at all in the universe. Sure enough, when I came to the universe, I felt relaxed. It seems that my Otsutsuki clan is most suitable for fighting in this universe. No wonder it is the most powerful race in countless worlds in the universe today. Runyi felt very relaxed after feeling that his power was not suppressed, so he thought in his heart. However, there are still important things to do, so Run Yi directly said, hurry up. Ah, the giant Shencher roared, and it carried Run Yi quickly towards the moon. The original starry sky was empty, and logically speaking, it should be able to fly, but the giant tree giant seemed to be able to step on the void with both feet, and ran steadily in the void like a shooting star. The giant of the sacred tree is very fast, flying straight to the moon, and it will not take long to reach the moon. The Datuang Muchun and Datuang Mujin poses are guarded on both sides. The two of them are flying, but the flying speed is not slow at all, and they are always on both sides of the giant tree of the gods. When Runyi and the others rushed to the moon in the universe. On the small island where Runyi and the others were before, a space vortex suddenly appeared. Then a white-masked and black-robed Madara emerged from it. Next to him stood a red-haired Nagato and a blue-haired Konan, while the black and white Jew stood on the other side. There is indeed a residual power of the heretic golem here, but it is not here now. Nagato has the eyes of reincarnation, and he can perceive the golems of heretics, so they chased all the way here. It's a pity that when they came here, there was nothing here, only some residual chakra traces remained. Your samsara I can't summon the golem of heretics. Madara's tone gave off a cold, questioning tone. It's not like asking at all, but a bit like asking a subordinate. On the other side, Konan frowned slightly, staring at Madara Uchiha warily. At the same time, she is also protecting Nagato's side, and it seems that there is a possibility of fighting at any time. I can only know its approximate position, and it's not real time. It can only be fed back to its position after a while. Nagato's reincarnation eyes are dilating their pupils, and at the same time, they are sensing the position of the golem. Uchiha Madara asked coldly at this time, where is it now? Beyond the planet, it seems to be moving in the direction of the moon. Nagato received another message from the golem of the outer way at this time, so he said quickly. It seems that this powerful force is actually looking for the Otsutsuki Hamura family on the moon. What is their purpose? This will interfere with our plans, Madara. While Nagato and Uchiha Madara were talking together, Heiju on the side looked worriedly at the direction of the moon. Although it is daytime now, he seems to be able to see the moon. As he said such words, Uchiha Madara on the side snorted coldly. Because the Hei in front of him didn't answer his previous question, he found that this Jew from Madara's avatar actually lied to him and didn't tell the truth, so much so that he hasn't told the truth now. Hearing Uchiha Madara's cold snort, Heiju slowly regained his composure at this time, and then he said, we can't wait any longer. If they wipe out the Otsutsuki Yamura clan of Moon Mountain and gain power, we will have no one to be their opponent. And now we don't know how many people they have come. Absolutely, at this time, are you still not telling the truth? Besides, what are you hiding, and, tell me, how do we get to the moon? My Kamui can't go through the starry sky and directly enter the moon. With an angry tone, Uchiha Madara seemed to be using his strength to subdue the whole guy who lied to him. At this time, Nagato looked at the man who claimed to be Madara and Heizei. The two of them found themselves together, and at the same time, the strength of the Akatsuki organization took the elite route and became stronger. The agreed goal is also getting closer. However, the two of them seem to be hiding from each other. You know, from the beginning to the end, Nagato felt that these two guys must have some conspiracy to hide from him, but what he didn't expect was that they were still fighting among themselves. Nagato watched without saying a word. Konan was already standing beside Nagato at this time. No matter what happens, she must be with Nagato. Madara, you have to know that our destiny is one. Heiju heard Uchiha Madara's dissatisfaction, but at this time he can't be messed up. If he is afraid, how can these people follow their own plans? How can I save my mother like that? So Heiju's tone made the other three people start to think again. However, after all, they have worked together for a long time, so there will be no obvious split due to the problems in front of them. So soon began to discuss countermeasures. Because they are bound to win the alien golem. Chapter 6. Ultimately, limited by experience, they didn't find their way to the moon right away. At this time, the Xia organization can only go back to find information. Since the Otsutsuki Yamura family was able to reach the moon back then, it means that there should be a special space channel directly between the blue planet and the moon. So, they need to look for it carefully to see where it is. Although everyone didn't discuss the golem of the outer way anymore, these people also knew that the powerful forces that obtained the golem of the outer way would definitely enter the Azure planet again. After all, everyone knew what the golem of the outer way was useful for. So at that time, it was the best time for all members of the Akatsuki organization to mobilize and retake the heretic golem. As the natives of the blue planet, they certainly know that these powerful forces that can walk in the starry sky must not be natives of the blue planet, so they will be suppressed by the power of the blue planet. So for the natives of the blue planet, they still have the power to fight. Not long after the people organized by Akatsuki left, Hui and the others came to the outside of the moon at an extremely fast speed. This huge planet is controlled by a unique force, and then it can ensure that the human beings living on it will not die without living resources. But how many living people are there now? Junichi thought that the current ninja world should be about the time when Naruto grew up. Of course, this is an approximate time, but it is about the same. In this way, there may be only one orphan left on the moon. And still a child. Even though he has the full lineage of the Otsutsuki clan, he is still a sleeping body that has lost his white eyes, and has no power to stop him at all. As for the giant Tenseiken on the moon, Junichi didn't care at all. Because what one's own eyes restrain is Baikan, even if Tenseiken is the final form of Baikan's ultimate body, it is useless. There is the breath of Otsutsuki's blood on it, could it be Kaguya? Otsutsuki Wakeshiki is Junichi's servant, so he will be at the front at any time. Just like now, he is doing it to check the information and then attack the target. Of course, when launching an attack, according to the strength of the opponent, the other servants on Hui's side will also attack. But it was the Otsutsuki Wake style that really collected information before the war. Who told him to have one more eye than other people under the big tube tree? Master Jun, here seems to be the blood of Kaguya, the traitor of my Otsutsuki clan. There are only two who are really alive, but half of them will be killed by the other. The Otsutsuki bloodline strengthens the Otsutsuki bloodline of another person in a fusion way, and it won't be long before the remaining one will have the complete Otsutsuki clan's bloodline. As for the other half, it seems to be sealed. Otsutsuki Yoshi reported the news he discovered to Junichi, and Junichi was also looking for some information on the moon at the moment. Basically, what Yoshi knew, and he would discover more than Chungshi. But most of the time, Hui doesn't care about such things at all, but now he really wants to see the moon. After all, I used to be full of fantasies about the moon. Now that I am here, I'd better take a good look at it. The war may blow up here in a short time. You two, go and catch the two people who stole my Datong Mu's blood, and I will execute the punishment myself. Yes, Master Run. After hearing Junichi's order, Otsuki Kinshiki and Otsuki Kinshiki rushed to the moon without hesitation. This planet is not a blue planet, so they will not be suppressed. In this way, the two of them can break through the special power of the moon at will and kill directly in the moon. Hui sits on the back of the God Tree Giant. Wherever he wants to go, the God Tree Giant will go there. It becomes Hui's mount, and Hui controls his mind. This is why Hui does not sit. The reason for the chakra throne. After all, although it is cool, it still needs to direct the subordinates to Hui. It's a little troublesome. And Hui controlled the giant of the sacred tree to the vicinity of Otsutsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Wakeshiki, and watched them make a move. At this moment, Datong Muangshi held a long sword made by Uniang Dun in his hand. The periphery of the long sword exudes a deep red light. And Datong Mujinshi is also holding a weapon in his hand at this time. The shape of this weapon is a bit unique. There are two sharp parts forward, like a steel fork. Of course, this weapon is also made by Yin Yang Dun weapons. Although the strength of the two of them is strong, they did not directly use their own bodies to break through the protective power of the moon, but used their own weapons. After the sharp 3 points of the two weapons touched the protective power of the moon, the two of them just pushed forward slightly, and the white light protective power of the moon seemed to be broken like glass. The whole body was completely shattered, quickly falling into the void, and slowly disappeared during the falling process. There are intruders. Kill. Just broke through the protective power of the moon, and then the guards on the moon discovered the intruders. Of course, this is mainly because the power of the Otsutsuki style and Otsutsuki kin style is too strong, and the protective power was broken in an instant. Otherwise, if it is other external forces, it will not be so easy at all, and only a slight contact is needed, and the defenders in the moon will be able to find out, and then organize a powerful force to destroy the invading enemy. That was now, just as they discovered, the intruder had already appeared in front of them. There is no chance of preparation at all. Of course, Datuang Mujin and Datuang Muchun will not give them a chance to prepare. Pushing directly horizontally, the yin-yang dun weapons in their hands suddenly increased by more than 10 times with the infusion of their own chakra, turning into an incomparably huge weapon. The red glow contrasts with the white light on the moon. Kill. Go and report to the master, there is an intruder. The intruder is very powerful, go and protect the master. Kill. 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 More and more puppet guards on the moon were mobilized at this time, and some puppets went back to the main hall to report and protect, and more rushed over to fight. However, they came in dense numbers, and they just yelled out the word kill. It disappeared in the mid-air of the moon. There will be no other voices. A group of puppets that looked very powerful were all annihilated under the attacks of the Datuang Muang style and the Datuang Mujin style without leaving any residue, as if they had never appeared before. Looking at all this, Runyi has no intention of fighting at all, he is really too weak. So he was at the back, following the two who opened the way towards the main hall of the moon. Chapter 7. What's up? Master, there is a powerful force that shattered the protective cover of the moon, and it is rushing in. Inside a huge palace. It feels very calm and cold. It seems that here is an ice cellar. And in this huge palace, there is only a child sleeping on a huge bed. As for other beings, there is none. Of course, if the half-human puppet counted as one creature, it would be two. Really? I seem to feel a familiar power. A young child has white skin all over his body, and there is a Guya logo on his neck collar, but his eyes are empty. With long blue and white hair, he looks a little handsome, but his eyes are gone. The talking child is one of the two beings on the moon, Otsutsuki Tonaro. And after he sat up from the bed, he raised his empty eyes to sense outside the hall. At the same time, he got off the bed. As for his original bed, it changed rapidly at this time. Before Otsutsuki Sharon took a few steps, the huge bed had turned into an adult-sized coffin at this time. Then a word of death appeared on the coffin, and then disappeared in a flash, and the coffin slowly sank into the ground of the hall. It's finally finished, you can go out and have a look. Datuang Musharan seemed to be talking to himself, but he seemed to be talking about something. He didn't care about the reappearance of a blank coffin, nor did he care about the change of that blank coffin into a new big bed, but disappeared in place. Of course, Otsutsuki Sharon doesn't know how to use space techniques, but he is in his own palace, so it is very easy to do this kind of fast movement. When Otsutsuki Tonari appeared outside the palace, all the puppets who blocked him had been wiped out. The Datuang Muang style and the Datuang Mujin style appeared not far away from him, and Junyi was also nearby, and he was looking at this Datuang Musharan. The blood of the Otsutsuki family is very pure, and there is also the breath of the 10-tailed body. Datuang Musharan is a blind man, he was born blind, only a pair of pure white eyes is needed to awaken the strongest power, and now he can only rely on his strong perception ability. Of course, if you say that he has no eyes and cannot see the current situation clearly, that is completely impossible, because Otsutsuki Tonaro has other means to know what he is facing now. You are not the descendants of the sage of the six paths from the blue planet, then you are the heavenly beings from the main family of my Otsutsuki clan. Otsutsuki Sharon's tone was very calm, even if he guessed who he was facing, he still had a strong self-confidence. We are not people in the sky. The real people in the sky are only the Otsutsuki family, and we are just the servants of the family. You have a very pure Otsuki blood, but you are not a descendant of my Otsutsuki clan. You actually used the method of sacrificing your own clan to steal Otsutsuki's blood, then you must die today. Otsutsuki Chung's style was very close to Otsutsuki Sharon at this time. And he and Otsuki Kikinshiki were ordered to catch the two people who stole the blood on the moon. But what I didn't expect was that it was just a brief fight, and the other person had died, and the reason for the death was that the descendants of the eyeless Otsutsuki in front of him robbed the opponent's blood of Otsutsuki. This situation is completely unforgivable for Otsutsuki and others. So he moved forward without any hesitation, ready to make a move. But at this time, there were actually several puppets protecting Otsutsuki Sharon, and one of them seemed to be quite strong. It's just that these puppet leaders with moon-forward guards hadn't had time to make a move, but were smashed to pieces by Datuong Muang's sword in an instant. Although these puppets seem to be very strong one by one, they are just scum in front of Otsutsuki Chungshiki. Otsutsuki Sharon didn't expect that the strongest puppet under him would be wiped out with one move. Catch him! Run! Ye didn't want to waste time, now that the target is close at hand, there is no need to waste time. Following Junichi's voice, Otsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Wakshi quickly made a move. At this time, Otsutsuki Tonari had already started to retreat. At the same time, he also began to use gravity to attract the surrounding objects, and then used it as a weapon to attack Otsutsuki Jinchi and Otsutsuki Chungshi. Of course, his attack has no effect, it's just a hindrance. During the pursuit process before and after the formation, many Taoist jades appeared in the hands of Otsutsuki Sharon, and the purpose was to attack the two people who were chasing him. As for Runyi, he didn't keep up, he was just watching the show. Soon, Otsutsuki Tonari's gaudy attacks did not cause much interference to the full-state Otsutsuki Chung and Otsutsuki Kinshiki, and the distance was getting closer and closer. But not far after flying out, the flying Otsutsuki Tonaro suddenly disappeared in a very huge sealing barrier. The Datuong Muang style and Datuong Mujin style are ready to break the seal barrier. At this moment, the surrounding space changed. A very terrifying blue and white force swept across, menacing, it seemed to be the full blow of an invincible strong man, bringing huge destructive power wherever it passed. Datuong Muchang style and Datuong Mujin style quickly formed a yin-yang dun shield in front of them to avoid. As for Runyi, he didn't take any precautions. When this powerful blue-white force swept across Runyi's eyes changed. Originally the size of the eyes was normal, but after Junichi used the pupil power, those eyes like black holes actually formed a huge black shadow outside of Runyi's eyes, which looked like sunglasses. But it is not sunglasses, but a pupil technique that moistens the eyes. The moment the black shadow and the blue-white power came into contact with each other, they were swallowed by the black shadow, and disappeared immediately after the terrifying destruction. Nothing seems to happen. And after Otsutsuki Tonaro in the sealing barrier found that his attack had no effect, he could only come in front of a huge eyeball. Green balls of light quickly appeared in his hands. These light balls were shot into the huge yellow eyeballs by Otsutsuki Sharon. The original eyeballs flashed with Otsutsuki family patterns, and then were quickly activated, and then turned into purple eyeballs, emitting purple light at the same time. Immediately afterwards, a very terrifying purple chakra ray shot out from this purple eyeball. This ray was very thick, and it aimed at Run Ye and the others. The power of Tensei-kan. Otsuki-kin's Hiki and Otsutsuki-kin's Hiki, who thought it was nothing at first, were just about to break the seal barrier, but a more terrifying power appeared. So they switched to defensive mode again. Although they are strong, they don't want to have accidents. Chapter 8. Suppressing opponents with bloodlines is indeed too easy for me, Otsukimoto's family. Junichi felt the terrifying Tenseigan chakra, and then sneered in his heart. As the heir of the main family of the Otsutsuki clan, this kind of servant's method is not worth mentioning at all. Otherwise, Kaguya would not have prepared various forces in the ninja world to resist the Otsukimoto family, instead of directly resisting with his own powerful strength. So, that's why Junichi is invincible. Because the servants of the Otsutsuki clan are completely dominated by the family, this kind of pupil attack from the Otsutsuki family, Run can easily resolve it with his own eyes. As Runyi was thinking like this, his eyes rolled quickly in the eye sockets, because it was completely dark, and it was impossible to see if there were any unique pattern changes inside, but a more intense black power came from Runyi's eyes. Burst out of the eyes. The farther this black power is from Runyi's eyes, the bigger it will be, and the wider its coverage will be. After rushing to the front and making contact with the power of the purple Tenseigan, everything disappeared again. It seems that Runyi's eyes can capture everything. When the battlefield became quiet again, Junichi still seemed to be fine, but Otsutsuki Tonaro, who was inside the ceiling barrier, became a little worried. Although he had known for a long time that the main family of the Otsutsuki clan would be very powerful, the powerful Tenseikan made with the supercilious eyes of his own clan wiped out the clan, but it was just like a firework in front of the main family. Of course, this firework was only launched and had no chance to explode. Although the opponent hadn't come in yet, for Otsutsuki Sharon, he was already in a very dangerous environment, so there were not many choices left for him. Just now, he used his own power to no effect, and then used the power of the giant Tenseikan to have no effect. Then the only and most taboo way is to merge with the turning eye. At this moment, Otsutsuki Sharon didn't hesitate at all, his hands slowly approached the turning eyes, and he chose to let Tenseigan merge into his own eye sockets, and he was still showing great unwillingness during the fusion process. Originally, I should save the blue planet with her from the blue planet. With the strength of the two of us, there is no problem of rejection at all with my own reincarnated eyes. But now, the last wish of my ancestors has no way to be fulfilled, and I am also in a dilemma. In danger, I can only borrow the eyes of my tribe. Let me kill the powerful enemy, and then I must return to the blue planet to get my own eyes. Otsutsuki Sharon thought this way. The originally perfect plan had a big problem, and now even if he lost some power, he had to do this. Do it, there is still a chance. After Otsutsuki Tonaro's choice, the huge Tenseigan slowly shrank, and in the process of shrinking, it actually turned yellow, and split into two, entering into Otsutsuki Tonaro's eye socket. The yellow Tenseigan seemed to be specially prepared for Otsuki Tonaro. It was quickly connected to Otsutsuki Tonaro's body, but the messy emotions contained in it were also disturbing Otsutsuki Tonaro. What? Feeling the negative emotions and pain brought about by Tenseikan, Otsutsuki Tonari knelt down on the ground, then he forced himself to prop up his body, and used the green Taoist jade in his hands to soothe his eyes. No, these eyes are too much of a waste of my strength, and there is no way to fight with peace of mind. Otsutsuki Tonaro eased his eyes a little, and then he looked at the blue planet. There are eyes of their own. Turning around, he saw that the ceiling barrier was being broken by Otsukimoto's family, and thought that he had no way to fight against it, so he began to use Tenseigan to control the moon without hesitation. The moon is controlled, and the power on it is also controlled. It seems that a planet is about to impact Runyi and the others. Although the moon is not very big, it is also countless times bigger than Runyi and the others. It would be a waste of time for the moon to hit them. At this moment, after feeling that the moon was being manipulated, Run Ye stood up from the seat on the back of the giant of the sacred tree, and leaped into the sky. Just stepped on the head of the giant tree of the gods. Run Ye then said, "You two step back." After hearing Run Ye's order, Otsutsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Kinshiki quickly moved behind Run Ye without any trace of ink. As for the huge moon, they were getting closer and closer. The movement of the moon added an inexplicable terrifying force to Run Ye's surroundings, which was compressing Run Ye and the others to hit the moon. Run Ye stabilized his body at this time, and then clasped his hands. 2 silver lights appeared on his originally smooth forehead, and the horns belonging to the Otsutsuki clan were hidden by Run Ye, and they were not completely placed outside. So these 2 flashing silver lights just moisten the tip of a pair of horns. But even the strength of the tip of the horn is enough. And Junichi's right hand slowly pointed forward with his index finger. 2 dots of silver light fell on Run Ye's fingertips, and along with the blue-white chakra in Run Ye's body, they shot towards the huge moon. When Junichi was attacking, everyone in the ninja world saw a huge white planet appearing in the sky. Because it is getting closer and closer to the blue planet. It has interfered with people's normal life, and even disasters have occurred in some places. So everyone can see it with the naked eye even in daylight. Just when everyone was wondering what happened, the moon in everyone's eyes actually shattered. And in the shattered light of the huge moon, many people saw the hands pointing forward. It seems that this shattered moon was made by powerful people with their fingers. In an instant, the entire ninja world was shaken. Countless people are guessing who this is. Among them, the members of the Akatsuki organization were the most shocked, because they had already fought this powerful force once. So they also knew the strength of their opponents and thought about how to deal with them. Now that the moon is gone, does unlimited monthly reading still make sense? Of course, going to the moon is meaningless, even if you find a way to the moon. Especially Heiju, at this moment he was so dazed that he didn't know what to do. His mother was still on the moon, so he hurriedly left the Kingdom of Rain to find his mother. When the natives of the ninja world were shocked and worried, a man carrying a fishing rod and a fishing basket glanced at the sky, not daring to waste any more time, and continued to search for more useful information. Another grey-white long-haired man also saw the fingers in the sky, and continued to fly in the ninja world in fear. She also needs more information, otherwise when the time comes to report, the family will be dissatisfied, which will be a disaster. Up. When 2 members of the Otsutsuki clan were collecting information about the ninja world, a man wrapped in a black robe looked up at the sky. At this moment, he gave everyone the impression that he was an ordinary civilian. But looking at his tight brows, he doesn't look like a commoner. Maybe he is just a pretender, a person with ulterior motives. Who is the mysterious man who appeared? Chapter 9. Calm down on a bridge after huge waves. Ms. Kakashi, is that a human hand? At this moment, the group of 5 who were avoiding the waves stopped, and everyone looked up at the sky together. One of the little boys with yellow hair looked up at the fingers in the sky, so he asked the ninja beside him. The ninja known as Mr. Kakashi held his forehead with his hand, one of his eyes was wrapped with a face scarf, and after looking at the sky with his single eye, he turned to the little boy with yellow hair and said, "Naruto, should be the finger of a very powerful person. Then is he as powerful as Grandpa Hokage?" Uzumaki Naruto heard what Kakashi Hatake said, so he hurriedly asked. In his eyes, the current Konoha hidden village is the 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, so as a man who wants to become a Hokage, he must be stronger than the most powerful 3rd Hokage. The 3rd generation may not be able to do this. You know, there are many powerful ninjas in the legend in the entire ninja world, so you still need to work harder. Kakashi Hatake said. After he finished speaking, he noticed that the black-haired kid beside him was looking enviously at the sky that had disappeared, as if that was his pursuit. "Sasuke, don't look any further, we need to continue with our mission." "Yes, Sasuke, let's finish Mr. Dazna's mission first." After Kakashi finished speaking, a pink-haired girl said. Her eyes were fixed on Sasuke, as if Sasuke's concentration on the sky just now was really handsome. So much so that she didn't even see what was actually happening in the sky. Sasuke gritted his teeth, and quickly followed behind Kakashi and the others. While doing tasks in Konoha Ninja Village here, a black hole suddenly appeared in the sky not far away, and a white head poked out, and then stared at the people who had gone away. This is the Otsukimoto style. At this moment, he is not staring at the elite Jonin Kakashi, but the nine-tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Naruto. With his hand outstretched, a red spot of light flew towards Naruto, and landed on Naruto's hair. Seeing that his mark was done, Otsutsuki continued to busy himself with his tasks. After Naruto and the others left the bridge, they did not find the mark left by the Otsutsuki Pushi. Kakashivan on this side is doing tasks, and at the same time, the filmmakers of the 5 major countries have begun to worry. They are very clear about some problems in the ninja world, so after seeing a powerful man suddenly, it is normal for them to feel worried. At the moment in Konoha Hidden Village in the Land of Fire, the 3rd Hokage is discussing this matter with Northeast by East Danzo. "Hi Jean, how can you let Nine-Tails Jinchuriki leave the village?" Danzo's gloomy voice made Hiruzuru Sarutobi frown tightly, and at the same time took a few puffs from the pipe in his mouth. There is a lot of smoke in the small room, making it difficult to see the surrounding environment. "Hizen, can you stop for a while?" Danzo felt the choking of the smoke, and he said hurriedly because he didn't want to inhale second-hand smoke. "Danzo, I thought you wouldn't say anything else. I have my own arrangements for Naruto's affairs, but there." Hiruzuru Sarutobi pointed to his head with one finger, implying that he was talking about what happened just now. "Hizen, you're old, it's just a phantom." Danzo said disdainfully, but soon thought of something, and continued, "Our top priority is to control Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and we can't let him get out of the village. You don't need to worry about this matter, send your people to investigate this matter." Sarutobi Hiruzen is really helpless, the boss at the root, can he only do one thing? Will you keep going if you can't do one thing? With so much time, I might as well think more about the village. "Ri Jean, you are really old. Go out, I'm going to start work." When Sarutobi Hiruzen said these words, Danzo had nothing to say. After all, Sarutobi Hiruzen was Hokage, but he was not. After leaving Danzo, although angry, he was still busy according to Sarutobi Hiruzen's plan. On the other side of the Land of Thunder, the 4th generation of Raikage is roaring in his office at the moment. The power appearing in the sky is too terrifying. Now, everyone does not know whether the moon still exists or not. Of course, the most important thing is what is the situation now, who has such a strong power, who can actually do this kind of thing to the moon outside the blue planet. When the 4th generation of Raikage roared, the ninjas of Union Village were also sent out, and at the same time began to contact other shadows. This matter is not as simple as it seems on the surface, so it is necessary to contact Wu Ying, and everyone needs to discuss it together. When Raikage started contacting other Kages, Tukage and Kazekage were also confused by the vision that appeared in the sky, and they both wanted to know what happened. After getting Lei Ying's information, they all took the initiative to get in touch. And after Kage had an idea, Mizu Kage of the Water Country finally responded, so it seemed that the 5-Kage meeting was about to be concluded. When the high-level people in the ninja world are starting to get nervous about these things, other ordinary people are talking about these things, because the sky vision has not been seen for many years. Where did Heiju go? He hasn't answered my question yet. At this moment, in a room in the Land of Rain, Uchihamadara was even more dissatisfied. Originally, Heiju had always followed him, but now he found that the other party had no idea where he was going. "Mara, he has something to do, now is not the time for us to be suspicious." Baize looked at Uchihamadara, and then said. Hearing the other party say this made Uchihamadara very upset. "Usually, I order others by myself and let others take care of my own overall situation. When, I need to take care of others' overall situation. Just as he continued to ask questions, Xionin appeared outside the window, and a beautiful woman appeared among the countless pieces of paper. She looked into the window coldly, and then said, Madara, Nagato is looking for you. Didn't you just finish? Uchiha Madara was very upset, and then said that he felt that what he encountered today was too uncomfortable for him, and many things were beyond his control. Nagato found out how to contact the person who snatched the golem of the heretics, so I need your help. Xionin continued to say patiently. If it wasn't for the fact that everyone's goals were the same for the time being, Xiaonan didn't want to have too much communication with the person in front of him at all. Because the opponent is too dangerous. In my setting, the blue planet will have its own power, otherwise it will directly push the ninja world horizontally. The plot is too single. Chapter 10. Oh. Uchiha Madara looked at Konan in disbelief. But soon he disappeared from where he was, and when he reappeared, he was already in the room where Nagato was. As for Xionin, he also flew to the room where Nagato was with a paper escape. But Baiju is even simpler, one side drilled into the floor, and the other side easily drilled out from the ceiling. In Nagato's room, Nagato looked at a yellow-haired Yahiko lying on the bed, and felt a little helpless. The main reason is that he has no way to control Pain's 6 paths because he doesn't have the golem of the outsider, although it can keep his body from hiding behind the scenes all the time. But the 6 realms he controlled could only temporarily let them rest, and as for the body of his friend Yahiko, he put it beside him. Looking at Nagato who is slowly recovering, Uchiha Madara is thinking at this moment to find the heretic golem as soon as possible, otherwise this Nagato who has the eyes of reincarnation will not be easy to deal with. Nagato, do you have a way to contact those people? Seeing Nagato, Uchiha Madara asked directly. After hearing Uchiha Madara asking himself, Nagato nodded and said, Before, I made 10 rings out of heretic golems. As long as the rings are worn on my hands, members of our organization can communicate with each other. You mean, we can contact the owner of the heretic golem through the ring? The clever Uchiha Madara immediately understood what Nagato meant. So he said anxiously. So Nagato nodded. However, this is a one-way connection. For example, before the golem of the heretics was controlled by Nagato, Nagato can actively contact the members of the Akatsuki organization. Now, the heretic golem is controlled by a more powerful person, so the other party must take the initiative to contact. No, now you don't have a heretic golem, so the other party can only contact us. Uchiha Madara knew the function of these rings, so at this time he immediately thought of the key to the problem. Nagato nodded, and then said, I made this thing, I can send out a test to see if the other party is willing to communicate with us. Now that the moon has broken, our plan seems to have to change. Uchiha Madara frowned, he didn't want to change the plan, this is the main spiritual pillar of his persistence, so he didn't like to hear others say that. Then get in touch quickly, I want to see what the purpose of these people is. In the end Uchiha Madara didn't have an attack. Instead, let Nagato contact quickly. At this moment, the 0 ring that was originally worn on Tiandao's hand is now in the hands of Nagato. After Nagato put the ring on his hand, an invisible force emanated from his finger, and then went beyond the empty blue planet, looking for the powerful 10-tailed shell. Otsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Kinshiki, who were looking for the moon debris at the moment, felt that Junichi had stopped, and thought that Junichi had discovered something, so they all surrounded him. Nagato. He felt the message from the sitting giant mount. Junyi found out right away. So he said something like this, and at the same time he said to the 2 people near him, don't look for it, it seems that they have a way to escape, collect the chakra scattered here, we will leave in a while. Yes, Master run. Otsutsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Kinshiki quickly went to collect chakra after receiving Junichi's order, and Junichi put his hand on the head of the giant mount. With his finger pointing up, an invisible force and the force from the blue planet formed a contact surface, and then a colorful phantom appeared near Runyi. The first to appear was Nagato wearing 0, and his red hair was very conspicuous. He didn't see Runyi, because Runyi didn't post his own image on the golem of the heretics. But although he didn't see it, he could see the surrounding situation. In this way, he also knew that what happened on the moon was done by the person who snatched the golem of the heretics. Who the hell are you? Why did you steal my heretic golem, and how could you have the god's eye? Nagato's voice just finished speaking, and the other members of the Akatsuki organization, who felt that their ring was inspired, also spoke one by one. Entered around the heretic golem. Is this where the finger appeared just now? Boss, is that you? You destroyed the moon. I didn't expect the power of the leader to be so powerful. We have already begun to conquer the moon. I have to say that beyond the planet is still very deep. This is a direction I have never studied. Leader, why isn't it the way of heaven? I really hope that one day I will be able to fly outside the sky. No one can do that kind of art. Behu, why didn't the organization notify us of such a big event? At least let us participate and have a look together. The figures that appeared were all active members of the Akatsuki organization. They didn't expect that this meeting was held in the starry sky, which was really curious. The reason for asking this is because they only saw their teammates but not Junichi and the others. At this moment, Nagato was still waiting for Junichi's answer, so he didn't answer the questions of the people in the organization at all. It's really lively. The Xia organization is full of talents, so just wait for me to collect your heads. Runyi looked at the members of the Akatsuki organization, and said something like this. After Runyi's words came out, those members of the Akatsuki organization felt surprised one by one. But more people are still clamoring, wanting to see what cruelty is like for this arrogant person. After all, everyone is strong, so why are you so arrogant? Especially those with strong self-sufficiency, and express your dissatisfaction. Is this a newcomer? Are all newcomers so arrogant now? Don't you know if you have to bow your head when you see a senior? Those who hide their heads and show their tails, come out if they have the ability. A few angry ones shouted directly, but Runyuk didn't say another word, and Nagato continued to say at this time, "What's your name?" The leader doesn't know the newcomer's name yet. No, this is not a newcomer. Everyone finally reacted. If this is the case, it means that the heretic golem of the Xia organization was snatched away, and the powerful force in the starry sky is not the leader of his own organization. My name is Otsuki Junichi. You wait for my harvest. Runyi said these words with a smile, and then he patted the head of the giant mount, and cut off the connection. Gold style. They had already harvested the remaining chakras on the moon, and they were all collected together, waiting to be used when replanting the sacred tree. Chapter 11. Otsuki Junichi. After losing contact, Nagato's eyes were blinking. A pair of samsara eyes seemed to be backtracking, wanting to obtain more information. But nothing seems to appear. And Uchiha Madara on the side, although he said he didn't participate, he also got the information the other party said. So he said, the Otsutsuki clan has disappeared in our ninja world, and the former immortals have been dead for a long time. Why did this suddenly reappear? The Sharingans of the Uchiha clan and the white eyes of the Hyuga clan are from the blood of the sages. Those who live on the moon are the younger brothers of the sages of the six paths, and they can be regarded as descendants of the sages. Bai Zi said beside him. Bai Ju was wearing a mysterious ring, so he also participated in such a conversation just now. Bai Zi, you've lived long enough, tell me what you know. Hei Zi is now missing, so Uchiha Madara can only ask Bai Zi. Hearing Uchiha Madara asked Bai Zi, Nagato and Konan also looked at Bai Zi curiously. Everyone wanted to know some of the secrets. Bai Ju saw everyone looking at him, and then said, actually, I don't know everything, but I know that there was no chakra in the ninja world at the beginning, because of the great Otsutsuki Kagaya, she brought chakra to the ninja world. Chakra. We all know these, and now we want to know other things. For Uchiha Madara, who has seen the steals of the Uchiha clan, he knows all of this. Actually, Kaguya Otsuki came from another world. The people from the Otsuki family who came this time are very powerful. They are probably from the same family as Kaguya Otsuki. They should come to take away chakra. Baiju's words made everyone feel a little unexpected. Isn't chakra all ninjas? Isn't it the entire ninja world? How can it be taken away? Do not agree. Whether what Baiju said was true or not, everyone knew. But these people who claim to be Daitongmu are enemies, and everyone agrees on this point. In this way, you will also know what the urgent task is. Madara, where is Kuros who has been following you? Nagato has the eyes of reincarnation, so he knows that a creature similar to Haku's has been following behind Uchiha Madara, and it is his right and left hand. Now that such a big thing has happened, that dark guy is not there. So I was a little curious, and what happened before? Nagato already understood that this black must know more things that he didn't tell Madara in front of him and himself. I don't know. I ran away early. When he shows up again, I must ask him. Uchiha Madara also feels very upset now. He is very clear about where that Heijo came from, so he can only say this kind of dissatisfaction at this time, so as to make him a little more comfortable. Nagato glanced at this guy, and then didn't bother to pay attention. As an organization, they actually hide some key information from each other. If this continues, the organization will definitely not be able to continue. Baiju, pass on the news and let those who are out on missions come back. We need to make a new plan. Okay, leader. Baiju got Nagato's order, and then disappeared in place to look for other members of the organization. Now that there is no heretic golem, everyone will lose the single-line connection with the leader. In this case, they can only let Baiju go to notify and pass on the information. When the Akatsuki organization was preparing to gather all its strength, Runyi and the others who were near the moon were not in a hurry to leave. Although just now, Runyi said that the other party had escaped, but that was all he said, because he was still waiting to see if anyone dared to come to the battlefield to pick up things. However, time passed slowly, and the fragments of the moon had begun to scatter in the starry sky, and Runyi and the others found nothing. While Junichi was waiting, Otsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Kinshiki stood beside him obediently. Although they didn't make any movements, they were using their powerful strength to control the surrounding environment. Perception. Let's go. Runyi didn't perceive the appearance of the other party. While looking at the autobiography of the Blue Planet, he knew that one day had passed on the Blue Planet, and he couldn't wait any longer. After Runyi finished speaking, the sitting giant mount began to approach the outermost edge of the Blue Planet. After arriving here, Runyi used his own power to open a small passage, and a group of people entered the Blue Planet. In this way, the starry sky slowly returned to calm. After Runyi and the others entered the Blue Planet, in the darkness of the void, a group of shadows peeled off from the darkness. If it weren't for a pair of eyes that blinked, it would be difficult for people to discover that it was alive, and it would only be regarded as a void. Dark. Is it finally gone? Are the people of the Otsutsuki family so terrifying? Mother, can I revive you? The black shadow-like creature said to itself at this time. But when he was talking, he was also perceiving the world around him. After a while, the black shadow opened a corner of its mouth, as if it had discovered something. It happily chased towards the depths of the starry sky. Its body is integrated with the darkness and is not affected by the cosmic environment at all, but because its unique body is more handy in the darkness. And when he chased a very short distance in the dark starry sky, he stopped, and then a small piece of the moon fell into his black hand. Great, Otsutsukimoto's family actually broke the seal. You only need to get a large amount of chakra, and your mother will be able to wake up. Heijo was very happy, and he quickly put a small piece of moon fragments into his body, and then glanced at the blue planet. It can only enter the blue planet through the passage from here. Although the blue planet will be more dangerous, but here is the root of his mother, so he must enter. After there was no sound in the starry sky, in a very chaotic pile of stones on the blue planet. In a vortex of space, Datung Mush Aaron, who escaped from the moon, came out. His thin body was wrapped in loose grey clothes, blood was flowing from the corners of his eyes, and his eyes were closed tightly. It's not that Otsutsuki Sharon's eyes can't be opened, but that it consumes too much energy. For him, he can only temporarily close his eyes to relax. The eyes that don't belong to me can't fit my body completely. It seems that I can only go to Hyaga's house. In any case, I have to have my own eyes. Feeling the direction casually, Otsutsuki Tonaro headed towards the land of fire. Chapter 12. Otsutsuki Tonari's purpose is very clear. So at this time, he left directly without any hesitation. As for Runyi and the others, after entering the blue planet, they did not go to the previous small island. Instead, it came to the edge of the continent near the coastline. The main purpose here is to wait for the return of Datung Muadao and Datung Mokpo. Although Run and I still understand some of the storylines of the entire blue planet, but that is just a main line, as for some other information is completely unclear. So it is necessary to understand the world more clearly. Master Jun, let's kill them directly, plunder their chakra and replant the sacred tree. Although Otsutsuki Kinshiki said that the level is not as high as Otsutsuki Wakeshiki, he does not mean that he cannot give Junichi suggestion. So at this moment, looking at Junyi who was so careful, he gave Junyi a suggestion. After Otsutsuki Kinshiki finished speaking, Junichi shook his head and said, Kinshiki, this world is not as simple as you think. Although we are powerful, we are suppressed by this world. Most of them, and the Otsutsuki clan born in this world are not suppressed, so they can be your opponents. Yes, Master Jun, I was being reckless. Otsutsuki Kinshiki said something like this, and then lowered his head. He wouldn't tell Junichi to solve it, and of course he wouldn't say that the Otsuki clan on the moon was very weak. Just now on the moon, they had already experienced each other's strength. Although it was not as good as their own, but that guy escaped from Runyi's hand, so he would definitely come to this planet. In this way, it is obvious that the opponent is stronger than oneself, because they have no restrictions on the blue planet. Master Jun, the time you gave Momoshiki and Urashiki for 2 days is really too much, and they are really a waste of time. They haven't completed the task after so long. What Otsutsuki Tsukishi said was thinking. The time-wasting Datung Mokpo and Datung Mokpo poses should be punished. Although Runyi had given him 2 days at the beginning, a day and a half had passed now. And these two people have not yet completed the task. Run glanced at Datung Muang style, and then said, Don't worry, there will be times when you make a move. Yes, Master Run. Suggestions can be made. No matter what the master family says, the subordinates need to obey. So after Junichi said this, the people in these big Tsutsukishita stopped talking, but waited patiently. By the way, how are your 2 physical skills? Junichi asked after looking at Otsutsuki Jinchi and Otsutsuki Chungshi. There is a reason for Junichi to ask this question. After all, the Otsuki clan is best at plundering chakra, so it may have an effect at first, but after this effect is discovered by these ninjas in the ninja world, it will be targeted. If the physical skills were poor, wouldn't they be beaten? Of course, what is still possible is to store enough chakraden in advance, so that you don't have to worry about the opponent's physical skills. Junichi, my taijutsu can be considered top-notch in the Otsutsukimoto family. Master Run, I'm not bad either. Hearing what Otsuki Kinshiki and Otsutsuki Kinshiki said, Junichi stopped asking. Although it is said that there are many physical geniuses in the ninja world, the Otsutsuki clan is not weak in physical arts, so there is no problem at all in the battle. Junichi continued to sit, and the time continued to pass, probably more than an hour passed, and it was almost the same time as the time set for the Datuang Muadao pose and the Datuang Mokpo pose before, so the two of them should be coming soon. Although Junichi and the others are not on an overseas island, it is still very easy for Otsutsuki to find Junichi and the others. Master Run, I have received a message from Pu Shi and Tao Shi, and they will be here soon. Okay. It seems that we will be able to act soon. Run Yi leaned back on the back seat of the giant mount, and then waited for the return of Datuang Mupu and Datuang Muadao. After another 10 minutes or so, there was a sudden fluctuation in the quiet space, a dark space was opened, Otsutsuki Mashiki walked out of it, and he came to Junichi to salute Jun. Run nodded his head and did not speak, but continued to wait. After a while, the big tube wooden peach style flew from a distance. His speed was very fast. When he approached Runyi and the others, he slowed down, and then came over to salute Run. Runyi nodded again, and then asked, "Have you marked the exact location of the chakra of the divine tree?" Master Jun, the disgraceful Kagaya of our Otsutsuki clan gave birth to 2 offspring with the natives in this low-racial world, and then her 2 filial sons actually sealed Kagaya, and the chakra in the body of the sacred tree was suppressed. It was split into an existence called a tailed beast. As long as these 9 tailed beasts are gathered, the sacred tree can be revived. After Otsutsumoto and Otsutsumomashi said a word like this, Junichi said, "The sacred tree that can revive this world is the best. If not, just collect enough chakra and plant a new tree. Trees aren't a problem either." Otsukimoto said, "Master Jun, the humans in these worlds have sealed the tailed beasts in their bodies, calling them the tailed beasts Jinchuriki. They want to use the powerful power of the tailed beasts to strengthen their own country. In the process I found 9 tails Jinchuriki, 2 tails Jinchuriki, 3 tails Jinchuriki, 6 tails Jinchuriki, and 8 tails Jinchuriki. The place where Otsutsumoto style went was the land of water, crossed the sea, and then came to the end, so basically I have a very clear understanding of the land of water. Then he went to the land of thunder. Also found there. As for the 9 tails Jinchuriki, it was completely encountered when I was passing by." Runyi continued to wait, and then Datuang Muadoji began to report, "Master Run, I have also found the remaining tailed beasts, and I have chakra marked them, and I can catch them back whenever necessary." "Very good, let's talk about some other important information." Runyi looked at the 2 of them, and then said with satisfaction, "The main purpose this time is to plant the sacred tree, and then obtain the fruit of the divine tree. And the task of the 2 of them is to inquire about the news, and they can't startle the snake, so they just made a mark, and then they shot together when they did it. As for Runyi, there is no restriction at all he wants is to spread his fame and make the natives of the ninja world fear him. As for his subordinates, there is no need for them, they just need to obey orders obediently." Chapter 13. Datuang Muapashi and Datuang Muadoji quickly reported the news they had received. Of course, the time they used was limited, so the news they got was only superficial. The most important of these is Otsutsuki Kagaya. As a traitor of the Otsutsuki clan, this guy has already become the incidental purpose this time, which is to execute her. At the same time, another Otsutsuki Shitato Ichishiki who followed Otsuki Kagaya to the blue planet to plant the sacred tree, but this guy did not appear on the blue planet. Or it could be said that Otsuki Ichishiki had appeared before, but it had been forgotten because it had been too long. This may be because of Otsutsuki Kagaya. Runyi will pay attention to this point and will find out at the same time. As a servant of Otsutsuki's family, since he violated the meaning of the family, he has become a traitor, and he will be punished by Junichi no matter whether he lives or dies. Otsutsuki Kagaya planted a sacred tree on this blue planet, and it also bore the fruit of the sacred tree. This fruit was supposed to be brought back to the Otsuki Han family for the future heirs of the Otsuki Han family to enjoy. However, he was eaten by Kagaya Haim, a servant of the Otsutsuki clan. In order to fight against the Otsuki Kagaya, This Otsuki Kagaya gave chakra back to the world, allowing the local aborigines to gain the power of chakra and strengthen their own power. And also gave birth to 2 dutiful sons. The 2 dutiful sons actually sealed their own mother for the sake of so-called justice, and then became immortals in this world. At the same time, the 2 filial sons also combined with the natives of this world, giving birth to more descendants of the Otsutsuki clan with thin blood. In this way, we can also see how capable these 2 dutiful sons are. It is precisely because their descendants fought in this world for a greater living environment, and it was the natives of the blue planet who were almost extinct in the end. It can be seen that the purpose of these 2 filial sons is actually very obvious, that is to completely occupy this planet. So for Run Yi, his workload is increasing. Because there are too many descendants of Otsutsuki in this world, even if they are all of thin blood, they are also descendants of Otsutsuki. Run Yi also had to take back the blood in these people's bodies. Of course, if there are 1 or 2 who can perfectly integrate Datong Mu's bloodline, and are strong enough to be his servants, then their lives can be spared. But Run Yi knows that there are still very few people like this in this world, and they are all iron-headed, so they should not give in, so it can be solved directly. As for some other information, it is not very important. After all, the purpose of Run Yi and the others is not to understand the people's sentiments. So knowing the tailed beast and other descendants of Datong Mu is basically the same. There are still 3 places in this world that need to be found. They dare to call themselves fairylands and deceive mortals. Moreover, there is another kind of energy planted by the sacred tree. She said, Master Run, I have detected some news that there are 3 disciples from the 3 great immortal lands in a village in the land of fire. Are you referring to this place? Yes. Run nodded. These news will definitely be detected, but the matter has priorities, so the big tube wooden peach style did not explain it just now. I'll leave this matter to you, Chung Shi and Jin Shi, and capture them all. Yes, Master Jun. Otsutsuki and Junichi finished together, and they were not in a hurry to leave, because they still needed some information. As time continued, Datong Mudoshi and Datong Mokbashi shared some other information. According to their plan, it is to directly snatch the tail beast, and then directly revive the sacred tree, which is very simple. After all, where the strength of himself and others lies, even if Run Yi asked Datong Mujinshi and Datong Muangshi to find the 3 great immortal lands, the 2 of them were so confident. But he knew that there might be accidents if he went directly to the door. He didn't want to bring so many people here by himself, but in the end he couldn't complete the task easily. So he planned to divide it into 2 routes. Tail-grabbing beast, this is inevitable, Junichi will not let go. But Junichi doesn't want to get too stiff with these ninjas in the ninja world. If all their powers are united, it will be really stressful for Junichi is too big. That way no matter what you do, you will limit yourself everywhere. That's why Junichi did this, and he didn't force these forces in the ninja world too much. After waiting for all the information to be almost over, Otsutsuki Mokishiki and Jinshi embarked on the road to find the 3 great fairy lands, while Junyi took Datong Mokishiki and Momoshiki to catch the 9-tail. Although it seems that the most powerful power in this world is in Konoha hidden village in the land of fire, for Junichi, he knows that the 9-tails Jinchuriki in this world is still very weak. It is much easier to capture him when he is weakest than to capture 9-tails when he is stronger. Moreover, Junichi learned from Mokura Otsutsuki that he saw a team of only 5 people, who seemed to be doing a mission, and if he hadn't been afraid of scaring the snake, he would have taken action at that time. So Junichi's plan at this time is to get the Kyuubi in Jinchuriki's body. Now is the beginning of Naruto's first S-level mission, and it happens to be my chance to get the tail beast. Runaki said it very naturally. Now I have my own exclusive mission, so even the children of this world must make way for me. After thinking about it for a while, Runaki said directly, Urashiki, you lead the way to catch Kyuubi. Yes, Master Run. Otsutsu Mokura received Junichi's instructions and flew directly into the air to lead the way, while Junichi arbitrarily controlled the giant mount and flew into the air, closely chasing Datuang Mokpo who was flying in front, and Datuang Momashi follow behind. A group of people flew quickly in the sky, and the three of them flew higher and higher beside the deserted coastline, and ordinary humans couldn't see it at all. Flying at high altitude has a very wide field of vision. Flying within a planet is not the same as flying in space. Especially on such a round sphere, Junichi can see far away. Master, run, it's just ahead, the mark the first left is here. Following Run Ye and the others, they flew along the coastline and soon saw a small island. Of course, this small island is only compared with the land where the Land of Fire is located. In fact, it is not small. And here is Naruto's mission land, the Land of Waves. The Land of Waves can be seen from a high place, but there is still some distance. Junichi and the others lowered their altitude and approached them. Chapter 14. Otsutsuki is at the front, Junichi sits on the back of a giant mount in the middle, and Otsukimoto is at the end. The goal now is to catch 9 tails. So at this time, the only way is to let Datuang Mokpashi lead the way. At this moment, Run Ye was sitting on the back of the giant mount, looking at the world, and thinking about it in his heart. I lack 10 key power points in my body to allow me to grow into a complete body of the Otsutsuki clan. Only in this way can I be considered a complete adult. At that time, the entire universe will be a place where I can go at will. This kind of world, the oppressive power of my body will no longer have any restrictions on me who is a complete body, and this may be the main reason why our family can be invincible in the universe. Naruto, although I still like you very much, after all, you are the protagonist in my understanding of Hokage, but who told you that your body is the chakra I need most? Junichi was thinking like this, but he didn't expect Mokura Otsutsu to go out to search for information and found Kyuubi's trace. This is just right to know that Naruto Uzumaki is the weakest period at this moment. If this is the case, then he should be able to be easily arrested with only Otsuki Mokura style shots. However, the Otsuki Mokura style is also quite good at being a man. Knowing that this kind of thing should not be done too much, let your master do it, and it can also make the young master feel more fulfilled, so that you can get the master's respect. More rewards. In fact, the main reason why these Otsuki Kinoshita people are willing to obey Junichi is because Junichi can reward them, so that these subordinates will work very hard when doing things. And the most precious rewards of Junyi are some unique skills. Among them, the one with the most rewards is Chakraden. This kind of Dan is not the Chakraden that was plundered on the moon and the blue planet just now, but the Dan in Runyi's huge throne made of Chakradens. These Chakradens come from the Dans trained on the sacred trees of several other worlds. Although it is said to come from the divine tree, there is a big gap with the fruit of the divine tree, so it is basically regarded as a quick supplement for the usual consumption. The recovery ability of the Otsutsuki family is very strong, but it can't stand the huge consumption, so there is this kind of pill to replenish myself quickly. With these things in place, Runaki no longer needs to use his own high-pressure methods to control. Master, run, the sign I left is on the bridge ahead. Flying all the way, basically flying on the sea. As the Otsuki family, it is completely possible to shuttle through space, so the speed will be faster. But Junichi didn't allow it, so they were all flying in the sky. Listening to Otsutsumoku's explanation, Junichi ignored it because he was looking at his surroundings. This place should belong to the vicinity of the northeast coast, and the surrounding natural environment is very good, so it is not as good as the planet where Otsukimoto's family is located, but it is still a very beautiful place. Chakra has actually brought such a big impact in this world. They are completely integrated with the natural environment here, so they can be easily changed by chakra. If so, the environment will be pleasant. It's very easy. It seems that there should be some strong people who have changed the natural environment here before. Runyi sat on the junior of the giant's mount, his eyes were pitch black, but there were brilliance shining, but ordinary people couldn't see such brilliance, and only the Otsutsuki clan could see clearly. So the thought just now was what Junichi saw through his own eyes. In the ninja world, the legendary god of ninjas, Mu-dun of Senshouzujian is invincible. He can easily change the natural environment. But Runyi discovered that it wasn't just Mu-dun that changed this place, but that there were other methods here, and this method was the same as some power remnants on the moon. Could it be Hui Ye? Or another person who came to the blue planet with Kagaya? Runyi's eyes didn't move, he was looking for clues, wanting to see where these guys were hiding. These servants of Otsutsuki did not die, so this is what Junichi noticed, because they are the only ones who can bring danger to themselves on this planet. As for other ninjas, they may be very powerful, but compared to in terms of danger, it still doesn't count. Of course, Runyi will complete his trip to the blue planet very carefully. He will not feel that he can crush everything. It is absolutely unnecessary. I was born as a proud person, and it didn't take long for me to become powerful. It's really not worth it to lose my life because of carelessness before I can truly enjoy the invincible life. So this is why Hui is so stable. In this world, his own strength has reached its peak, and there are 4 powerful subordinates. If he is more cautious in this situation, then basically there will be no accidents. Of course, Junichi may have some other performances, such as looking at those ninjas in Ninja Legends, he may treat them differently. The strong will give them the death method of the strong, and the weak basically cannot enter Runyi's sight at all. As for the beautiful women, of course they have to be treated differently. In terms of aesthetics, Junichi has reached a new height, so his aesthetics have also changed. In this way, in the entire universe, the real beauties are probably only the Otsutsuki clan, but for the ninja world some beauties, he may still have an attitude of approval, maybe because of more memories. Junichi's eyes stopped blinking, and then he stopped and looked at a small village far from the coast. There, Runyi discovered a chakra wave that was very similar to the original source of his own body, which might be called his scent. After Runyi stopped, Datuang Mokurashiki and Datuang Mudoji also stopped quickly, and then they looked in the direction Runyi was looking at together. Both of them have white eyes, so they can see everything in that village. Runyi didn't move, and the two of them were checking what was there and why it attracted the attention of Master Run. This may be the reason for Junichi's unique pupil technique, he seems to be able to see through more than the white eyes of these big Tsutsuki. Chapter 15 Peach Style Master Run. Runyi's voice appeared, and Datuang Mudao quickly half-kneeled in mid-air. His voice was very low, but Runyi could hear it very clearly. Junichi looked at him and said, I saw there seemed to be a person with Otsutsuki's bloodline, which was different from Kagaya's. Yes, Master Run. Needless to say, it is too clear that Datuang Mudoji is not an ordinary person, a stupid person. So after receiving Runyi's order, he quickly left here and headed towards the village. Master Jun, are you the one who came to Azure Planet to plant the sacred tree with the traitor Kagaya? Not sure yet. Otsutsuki Mokurashiki was very curious at this time, because he had reported the news he had received to Junichi before. In this world, there is only Otsuki Kagaya, the ancestor of Chakra, and he has never heard of the existence of Otsuki Ichishiki. What is certain is that the shame of Otsuki Kagaya, the Otsutsuki clan, must have killed his companions in order to achieve the goal of stealing the fruit of the sacred tree, so they always thought that Otsuki Ichishiki was dead. But now the adults of the family have discovered the trace, which shows that this guy is very likely to be the real mastermind behind the scenes. If this is the case, for the Otsutsuki clan, this person is likely to be the real traitor. Because the real traitors often hide behind the scenes and only dare to show up after complete victory or success. Junichi was not talking, and Otsutsuki Mokurashiki was also carefully observing his surroundings at this time, making it impossible for some forces close to him to hide. Since a person with Datong Mu's blood was found here, it is very likely to bring danger. Of course, the opponent may not be able to kill his master, but he will be punished for his mistakes, so he must be more cautious than ever. Runyi was not talking, his eyes kept looking into the distance. Although the distance is far away, he can see very clearly that the big tube wooden peach pose has quickly appeared above the village. Just now, Junyi didn't tell Datong Mumaji where the person with Datong Mu's blood was, but when the distance was enough, Datong Mumashi could immediately sense him by virtue of his connection with the blood. If Otsutsuki Kushiki was present at this time, then his fourth eye, similar to a human eye, would be able to spot Junichi at Junichi's position, but Otsutsuki didn't have that eye, so he just could be close perception. It's just that when you sense it at close range, people who also have the blood of Datong Mu will also sense it, so you can only see whose means are powerful. Boom! A loud explosion sounded from a small house. Immediately afterwards, the huge energy raged through all the surrounding houses, and the Datong Mu Dao style found the target, and he shot without hesitation. Junichi watched very patiently, because he was still not quite sure whether the other party was the missing Otsutsuki Ichishiki. The violent explosion made those ordinary civilians feel the threat of death at this time. Some people ran out of the village quickly, while some were crying bitterly because their relatives were affected by the explosion. Although they were screaming and screaming, it didn't affect the determination of the big tube pistachio shot. A red chakrajade that was formed by yin-yang dun and only the size of a table tennis ball appeared in his hand. This time he planned to attack even more thoroughly. You can imagine the tailed beast jade, which is actually a kind of spherical chakra. For these humans in the ninja world, they have already experienced various death threats, so they have long been familiar with the explosion just now, and it is good to be alive, so most of them started to leave the village, not wanting to be killed by ninjas. They attacked. And there was no other sound in the ruins of the explosion just now, it seemed that the blow just now had an effect. The chakrajade in the hand of the big tube wooden peach pose flew out lightly, and instantly transformed into 9 pieces at a position 2 meters away from the large tube wooden peach pose, and then rushed to the ground at an extremely fast speed. It landed around the ruins just now. Then there was a louder explosion, and the ground sank more than 10 meters. It seemed that the attack just sunk the selected area, and the purpose might be to prevent the target from escaping. Seeing that his attack had an effect, Datong Mu Dao opened his mouth in no hurry, and then a gust of wind blew out from his mouth as if there was a wind escape. The smoke and dust that filled the place of the explosion were quickly blown away. And in the deep pit, a dilapidated human body appeared. He withstood the explosion, but he seemed to be dead now. The big tube wooden peach pose flew down from the sky to the ground. Looking at the deep pit, he raised his hands upwards, and the killed target was also lifted from the air. When he reached the same height as the big tube wooden peach pose, his eyes changed rapidly, and finally determined that the opponent was dead, so he flew towards Runyi with his target. The target that was killed was flying behind the big tube wooden peach pose, because the big tube wooden peach pose was dragging him with its own strength. When they came to Runyi, Runyi took a closer look and asked, "Did this make the target escape?" "Master Run, please punish me." Datong Momashiki seemed to have known the failure of his mission, so he knelt down in front of Junichi. Runyi gently raised one hand and flapped it in front of his face, and then the large wooden peach pose that was kneeling on his knees was directly thrown out. The large wooden peach pose that was originally flying in the air fell directly to the ground, raising countless dust. At the same time, he quickly got up from the ground and continued to kneel on the ground. During the whole process, he didn't even dare to wipe it with his hands. There was blood at the corner of his mouth, and he didn't dare to straighten his messy long hair. Runyi felt a little angry. This big tube wooden peach pose was too confident, and his moves were devastating, but he only brought back a puppet body. You must know that what Runyi saw just now was a real human being with the blood of Otsutsuki. So this slap is to make him remember better. Don't think that once you come here, you will become the king of this world. Don't take everything seriously. Runyi didn't speak anymore, and started on his way again. The other party had already fled, and Run Ye could no longer observe any aura. After quickly burning the puppet with flames in the big tube wooden peach style, he followed closely behind Run Ye. Chapter 16. There seem to be other forces here. After Run Ye and the others approached the sky above a huge bridge, they realized something was wrong. The two people in the Datuang Muadao pose and the Datuang Mokara pose have already begun to open their white eyes to look around, and at the same time, the Datuang Mokara pose is sensing the imprint left by themselves. Master Jun, Nine Tails Jinchuriki is here, but I found that there are many humans hidden in the westernmost part of the bridge. Could it be that they have discovered the mark the first left and are planning to attack us? After Otsutsuki sensed the location of Kuabai, he reported like this. However, he also found that there are more than 100 humans here, and some of them are very powerful, so he wondered if the imprint he left was discovered by the natives of this blue planet. Don't worry, we can wait, it's not us that they should be waiting for. Yes, Master Run. Junichi knew that Naruto was doing Nami's mission, so he felt that there was no need to worry at all, and it was very good to have a look at Naruto on the spot. So they continued to be at the top of the sky on the bridge. Here, the ninjas on the ground couldn't see Run Ye and the others at all. Of course, the most important thing is that Run Ye and the others did not send out their own power fluctuations, otherwise some elite ninjas would be able to find other lives in the sky. While Junichi and the others were waiting, Naruto and others also appeared on the stage, and then saw a very familiar picture. Naruto was attacked by Shiro, Sasuke went to rescue, and Sakura kept calling Sasuke. The main reason for this is that Sakura, as a civilian ninja, is too weak. As for the other side, Hatake Kakashi is having a ninjutsu duel with Mamakai Zabuchi. Master Run, those hidden human beings have not come over. Are we going to wait for them all to gather and then destroy them together? The big tube wooden peach pose had already made a mistake just now, so at this time also showed his resentment. Of course, this grievance was intended for the natives of the blue planet, not for Run Ye to vent to at this time. Run took a look at the big tube wooden peach pose, and then said, "Are you blind with your white eyes? Don't you know that the others are all low-strength humans? You can eliminate them with one move, and you still need to waste time. Is it?" Master Run, I was wrong. Datuang Muadao felt that he should not speak any more. Under the carelessness just now, the Datong Mu human used a very powerful shrinking technique, and then made him shrink to hundreds of times as a whole, so he couldn't see it at all. He avoided his own perception, and finally let the other party run away. So much so that I didn't complete Master Run's task. What I have to do now is to keep quiet and just listen to orders. Too many words will be lost. Jun glanced at Otsutsuki Shiki, and then said, "Look, that Nine Tails Jinchuriki is about to lose control of his body, and their opponents are putting too much pressure on him. I need you to do it just after that nine-tailed one comes out, grab the nine-tailed one." "Yes, Master Run." After Otsutsuki received Junichi's order, he knew what he should do. Since it is only to obtain the chakra of 9 tails, Otsutsuki thinks it will be very easy. He kept staring at the battle below, while holding the fishing rod tightly, intending to attack 9 tails at any time. From the beginning to the end, Run Ye and the others did not show any power fluctuations, so the battle continued below, without any perception that they had become prey. Time passed slowly, and Naruto finally couldn't suppress the 9 tails chakra, and then the tailed beast coat slowly appeared on Naruto's body, and a unique tailed beast tail appeared behind a human, while originally a normal human being also became prostrate on the ground. With a cry, Naruto quickly launched an attack on the dialogue. But at this moment, the opportunity Otsutsuki had been waiting for a long time came, so Uniang Dun's fishing rod fell down hard, and the red hook seemed to be positioned, breaking through the white hook at an extremely fast speed. The blood continued to limit the boundary, and pierced into Naruto's body at once. At this moment, the picture freezes. Bai's blood continued to shatter, and he seemed to have been seriously injured, with blood spurting out of his mouth, and the red fishhook caught Naruto jumping in mid-air. Immediately afterwards, Shiro fell to the ground with serious injuries and had no strength to get up. After the 9 tails in Naruto's body let out a roar, he was caught by the fishhook unwillingly from Naruto's body, and lost the appearance of the tailed beast coat. Naruto passed out and fell to the ground. Sasuke! Naruto! Sakura, who was still yelling at Sasuke, didn't expect this sudden situation, so she yelled at Naruto again. At the same time, she yelled loudly towards Hatake Kakashi's position, "Mr. Kakashi, Naruto was killed." What? Hatake Kakashi suddenly heard Sakura's hysterical cry, and then learned that it was after Naruto was killed. After being distracted for a moment, he was kicked in the face by a big foot, and was kicked dozens of meters away. "Copy ninja, how dare you distract yourself from fighting me again? Look at my technique." Momokai Zabuzan is the best at seizing the opportunity. He releases the water escape continuously, because he doesn't need to worry about the opponent being able to copy his ninjutsu, so he uses the fastest seal to release the strongest water escape attack. After Hatake Kakashi fell into the water, he used a shadow clone, and then the main body rushed from the sea to the bridge. Now he doesn't dare to let Naruto have any accidents. This is his teacher's son, and he is also the village's weapon of war, the powerful 9 tails Jinchuriki. How could he be killed? The remaining shadow clone seems to have inherited Hatake Kakashi's ability, which is actually comparable to Momokai's no cutting. And when Hatake Kakashi rushed to the bridge, he saw Naruto, Sasuke, and Momokai Zabuzan's helper Shiro lying on the ground. Among them, Naruto and Sasuke were unconscious, and Momokai's assistant was seriously injured. What happened to Sakura? A red fishhook fell from the sky, snatched a lot of power from Naruto's body, and then Naruto fell to the ground. Kakashi checked Naruto's status, and then he asked Sakura not far away. Sakura cried, but she also answered Hatake Kakashi. It seemed that because of injury or fright, she had no way to stand up and help her partner. Chapter 17. Kakashi-sensei, how is Sasuke doing? Seeing Kakashi Hatake checking Naruto's status beside Naruto, Sakura asked anxiously. But Hatake Kakashi has no time to see Sasuke now. He found that the 9 tails in Naruto's body are gone, which will make Naruto die. So he was very anxious. But in a hurry, Hatake Kakashi still looked towards the sky. Although he didn't see anything, he could feel the powerful traces of chakra. "Sakura, are you still able to stand up and walk? We have to get out of here now." At this time, Kakashi Hatake hugged Naruto with one hand and at the same time walked to Sasuke's vicinity, hugged Sasuke with the other hand, and then said to Sakura. At this time, Sakura seemed to feel that her legs had regained strength, so she said to Hatake Kakashi, "Mr. Kakashi, I'm fine, you take Sasuke and the others away." After speaking, she stood up and followed quickly. Hatake Kakashi didn't dare to waste time at this time, and now he is very regretful. Why didn't he take Naruto back to the village when he found out that the moon was destroyed by a powerful force? Now it is obvious that those people on the moon have come. They are so powerful, they will definitely want to obtain the strongest power in the ninja world. Only in this way is it worth their shot. Hatake Kakashi regretted in his heart, but his speed was not slow at all. He didn't even worry about wasting chakra and took the two of them on their way. As for Sakura who followed behind, Kakashi Hatake didn't have time to care about it at all, but Sakura herself showed a lot of patience at this time, gritted her teeth and followed Kakashi Hatake tightly. After Kakashi ran for a long distance, the shadow clone left behind was still fighting Momokai Zabuzan. But Momokai Zabuza also discovered the accident on the bridge, and at the same time saw the scene of Hatake Kakashi running away, but this shadow clone is too weird, and he fights the opponent no matter what. The opponent will become stronger when it is strong, so it is difficult to defeat the opponent in a short time. Fortunately, Kakashi Hatake didn't want to fight on his own, otherwise he might be defeated by this shadow clone. White. If you don't cut it, I cough. In the end, Mamaji Zabuzan used a water body, and then the main body broke away from the battle circle and appeared on the bridge. When he saw that Bai was seriously injured, Dai immediately hugged Bai. At this moment, Bai felt satisfied, and there was a certain expectation in his eyes. And Mamakai Zabuza looked angrily at Hitaki Kakashi who was fleeing, and then shouted loudly, "Kakashi, you are too much to sneak attack Shiro." Mamakai went after Kakashi Hitaki and the others when he shouted again, but Shiro in his arms said in a weak voice, "If you don't cut it, let's escape from here quickly, there is a powerful force that broke my blood. Following the limit, we captured the tailed beast in that yellow-haired boy, we are not their opponents. Is that so? Okay." Mamakai immediately felt a very dangerous force seems to be locking himself, so he immediately stopped and started running towards the other side of the bridge. After the Nine Tails chakra in Naruto's body was fished away, Nine Tails was also struggling hard at this moment. But it found that it could not struggle to get off the small hook anyway. It seems that the hook has a force that is completely aimed at him, and this force is stronger than himself, which makes Nine Tails feel fear. When it leaked a tail of power from Jinchuriki's body just now, Kuwabai felt joy and thought it was going to be free. But who knows, he was fished away by a more powerful force. So it regrets it now, and it's actually pretty good to stay in that kid's body with peace of mind. But what good is regret? Roar. So Kuwabai could only let out a roar, not to express his regret, but to remind Konoha's ninja that he was in midair, and he could still be saved. The powerful chakra is still in the form of life, but you can't escape. The Datsutsu Mokura style seemed very relaxed, but he also yanked Kuwabai from the ground into midair with both hands. Then he reeled in with joy, now that he had finally fulfilled Runyi's order, he needed to work harder. "You, my uncle, feel the appearance that I hate." Kuwabai has not completely turned into a ball of chakra, so it still has its own consciousness. After seeing Runiki and the others in midair at close range, he still said very stiffly. But when it saw Runyi's pair of pitch-black eyes, it seemed as if its soul flew away. So it became quiet. Feeling that there was no more struggle in his hands, Mokura Otsutsu knew that it was Junichi's pupil technique that worked, so he directly lumped Kuwabai's chakra into a chakraden without wasting any time. "Master Run, this doesn't seem to be a perfect body. I'm sure I fished out all the nine-tailed chakras in that native body." Otsukimoto looked at the chakraden in his hand, and immediately realized that it seemed to be half missing, so he just thought that Otsutsuki would be punished for not completing Junichi's task, so he hurriedly talked. "In fact, don't underestimate Runyi's slap, it was not just on the face, but on their souls, the pain was more severe than cutting off their hands, so he didn't want to make a mistake. And if he also made a mistake at this time, it would definitely annoy the adults in front of him, so he had to report it truthfully." Junichi looked at the Nine Tails chakra in Otsutsu Mokurashiki's hand, and said, "I see, purify the other powers in it." "Yes, Master Run." After Otsutsu Mokurashiki received Junichi's order, he hurriedly worked hard. At this time, Runyi saw that on the other side of the bridge, Mamakai Zabuzan met Kato and his men who had been ambushing for a long time. No. All kills. And the rich man Kato also became Dadai's soul under the sword. After dealing with these people easily, Mamakai no Jean and Shiro hid in the land of waves. On the other side, Hitaki Kakashi is about to reach the land, which is very close to the border of the land of fire, and he can immediately contact the people in Konoha Hidden Village. Chapter 18. Junichi kept staring at Hitaki Kakashi and the others. He is very peaceful at the moment. Not an iota of guilt. This feeling is as if you just crushed an ant to death, because the current self and the natives of the blue planet are no longer at the same height. Although everyone's parents are still very similar. But for Runyi, he is more inclined to his current identity, so in order to be strong, such killing is necessary. "Master Run, after purifying this chakraden, I found a trace left by a native of this planet, and I also found that the other half of the nine-tailed chakra is on this native, but this native seems to have entered another world. Otsutsuki seemed to have made a new discovery at this time, so he reported it like this. After Junichi heard it, he guessed that it should be the power of the sealing technique left by Namikaze Minato, the Hokage, and of course the other half of Kyuubi's chakra knew where it was. But for me now, there is absolutely no need to look for it. The main reason is that although I and others can pass by that world, it is not the present. The main reason is that it is too dangerous. Well, don't worry now, let's stop them first and don't let them go. Junichi was talking about Hitaki Kakashi and the others, of course. As a person who knows some big background stories in this world, how could he let go of the characters who are really hiding behind? So Junichi wanted to see if the so-called Sage of the Six Paths would make a move when he stopped Hitaki Kakashi and the others. If the opponent makes a move at this time, then maybe he can still fight himself. In this way, he would not have come to the blue planet with an opponent who had no strength to fight with him, which would be too boring. Junichi and the others quickly flew over after speaking, and quickly blocked Hitaki Kakashi and the others. Runiki and the others who appeared suddenly blocked the way, and they were all suspended in the air, making Hitaki Kakashi stop quickly. But Sakura, who had been on her way, didn't notice what happened in front of her, and directly bumped into Hitaki Kakashi's back. Ouch! Sakura let out a very soft and pleasant voice, stroking her big forehead with her hand in pain. Then she immediately spotted 3 humans in the air ahead. And saw the red hook that scared her. Ms. Kakashi, it's the
वीडियोस बनाने हैं फिल्मोरा है ना।